Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Perth East Council this 19th day of November. I'd like to call our meeting to order. If everyone could please bow their head for a moment of reflection. Thank you. Our first motion is to adopt our agenda. So the agenda as prepared for the November 19, 2024 meeting of Council of the Township of Perth East be approved as received. Moved by Hugh, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. If you have pecuniary interest, you can disclose that now or as the meeting goes along. We have 11 items on our consent agenda. Is there any item anyone would like pulled or they have questions on? Hugh?
Not really a question, but it's with the drains there. It's a wonder if we actually hired a trapper to go through Perth East and kind of thin the beavers out. That might not save us some money. I realize they will come back, but.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's wrong, but.
We do have someone that does trap them, but I think they wait till they hear from somebody that there's a beaver there. So I don't know if the pelts are anymore or not. Okay, anyone else? Nope. Okay, then we have a motion that items 5.1.1 to 5.1.11 as set out on the consent agenda for November 19, 2024 regular meeting of council be received for information, and that the Perth East Youth Advisory Council November 4, 2024 meeting minutes be received for information, and that the minutes of November 5, 2024 regular meeting of council be adopted. Moved by Bob, second by Jeremy. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have no public presentations. Under other presentations, we have a drainage report on the Ulm Municipal Drain, and we have Chris Dietrich joining us tonight on the screen. So welcome, Chris. Good to see you. And the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to present the Ulm Municipal Drain 2024. This report was prepared under Section 78 of the Drainage Acts, which is a major improvements to a drainage works. That's perfect that the plan's up there now. Basically, this municipal drain serves parts of lots 23 to 25 of concession 10 in Ellis Ward. Basically, the watershed is that double blue line, which is the closed drain, which we are proposing here tonight. And the watershed area consists of 14.7 hectares or 36.5 acres. The existing drain consisted of 45 meters of 200 millimeter diameter pipe. And that was prepared under a report dated August 16th, 1952 by Robert Code. Our new drain will replace the existing one and consists of 62 meters of 375 millimeter diameter HDPE pipe, which is high density polyethylene, across line 46 and easterly along lot 24 of concession 10 to a new catch basin. This drain was designed to 38 millimeter per 24-hour period of rainfall. And we have estimated the cost of this work at $52,000. And it's at this point that I take any questions from council.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Any questions on the report? No questions. Any comments from the public at all on this? No? Okay. And we have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the presentation from Chris Dietrich, Drainage Engineer, Dietrich Engineering Limited, Ohm Municipal Drain 2024, serving parts of Lot 23 to 25, Concession 10, Ellis Ward, Township of Perth East, County of Perth, and further that the quarter revision for the Ohm Municipal Drain be held on December 17, 2024 at 6:45 p.m. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Chris. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no delegations. Now we move to our public meeting. I declare this public meeting to be open. This public meeting is being held to consider a proposed zoning bylaw amendment affecting property currently owned by MHBC Planning, care of Julianne Von Westerholt, Sherco Holding, care of Colin Humphrey, Lot 3 concession 3, Lot 9, part of Lot 8, concession 4, part lots 8 and 9, 4350 Perth Line 36. This meeting is an opportunity for the township to advise the public of the purpose and intent of the amendment and receive their input prior to considering adoption of an implementing bylaw. If a bylaw is adopted to implement the zoning amendment, a notice of passing will be forwarded by prepaid first-class mail to various agencies of interest and others who have requested notice. An appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal objecting to the adoption of the bylaw may be filed with the clerk no later than the date stated on the notice. Any person attending this meeting who wishes to receive written notice of a bylaw passed to implement the amendment is asked to give their name and mailing address to the clerk following this meeting. No written notice except as previously noted will be given unless requested in writing following the meeting. All persons attending this meeting will be given an opportunity to be heard or make a presentation. I will now call on Planner Jeff to present the planning report and recommendations. So Jeff, welcome. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. So MHBC Planning, on behalf of Sherco Holdings, have submitted this zone change application for the lands municipally known as 4350 line 36. They're intending to rezone the property from an MAR-3 zone to an agricultural zone and an agricultural commercial industrial zone, which is an ACM zone. 3 consent applications have also been submitted for the subject lands to create 1 new lot for the existing agricultural business and 2 lot additions to be added to adjacent properties. Subject lands are comprised of a decommissioned gravel pit, rehabilitated ponds resulting from previous aggregate operations, agricultural lands, an existing truck, trailer, and equipment repair business. Subject lands, as mentioned, have been rehabilitated to allow for agricultural production following the surrendering of the aggregate licenses on the property. The application to rezone the subject lands to an agricultural zone, an agricultural commercial industrial zone, will recognize the long-term intended use of those lands. The mineral aggregate resources on the lands have been extracted and the interim use of the property is no longer needed. Rezoning of the property to agricultural is consistent with the provincial policy statement as the lands have completed the rehabilitation and they're being protected for long-term agricultural and agricultural related uses. The Perth County official plan also recognizes that those extraction sites are required to be rehabilitated in accordance with the plan submitted to the Ministry of Natural Resources. The land uses are compatible with their surrounding land uses, and the rehabilitation plan has been implemented as a condition of the surrendering of the licenses. Blue Water Recycling Association and Upper Thames River Conservation Authority have responded to the applications. Neither one has any concerns. The lands have an approximate land area of 120 hectares and a lot frontage of 421 meters on Perth Line 36. The Perth County official plan also includes minimum distance separation policies that require MDS 1 provisions for new development and agricultural designations. As the proposed use is not more sensitive than what the current zoning permits, the applicant is not required to adhere to those MDS 1 setback requirements. Existing special mineral aggregate resource zone, MAR3, allows for the existing uses on the subject property, including the truck service operation, which has expanded to exceed the maximum allowable gross floor area of 930 square meters. The rezoning of this portion of lands to an ACM zone recognizes the established land uses that are considered to be compatible with the proposed agricultural zone and the surrounding lands. Portion of the subject lands are also occupied with an existing building, accessory structures, parking, and the zone would meet all other requirements in the ACM zone. The rezoning application also proposes to rezone lands that are subject to the consent application. So B 26-24, the adjacent lands are to be enlarged at 4318 Perth line 36, and they're zoned as an A-142 zone. So planning staff feel that it's appropriate to rezone those lands that are subject to the lot addition to the same zone, which is an A-142 zone. This avoids having any split zoning on the non-farm residential parcel of land. We have discussed this with the applicant, and they agree to the change. So planning staff have no concerns with the zoning amendment as revised by staff. The amendment allows for the continued operation of the truck and equipment repair business on the ACM zone lands, and it will complete the intended rehabilitation on the agricultural zone lands. Application is considered to be consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms with the County of Perth official plan, and represents good planning. And I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one. Does the applicant or the applicant's agent wish to make a presentation or speak with respect to the application? No? Okay. Are there any questions from members of council? No. Council will consider a resolution regarding the planning report recommendation following the conclusion of the public meeting. Bylaw 212-2024 to implement the approval of the zoning application will be considered later within the council agenda. The public meeting is now concluded, and we will continue with the regular meeting of council. Okay, and we have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report dated November 19, 2024, entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment D14-Z12-2024-PE, submitted by Sherco Holdings, affecting lands described as Part Lot 8, Lot 9, Concession 3, Part Lots 8 and 9, Concession 4, Ellis Ward in the Township of Perth East, municipally known as 4350 Perth Line 36, and that council held a statutory public meeting pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act with respect to zoning bylaw amendment Z12-2024, and further that zoning bylaw amendment Z12-2024 be approved, and further that council proceed with the adoption of the zoning bylaw 212-2024. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Next, we have no public hearings. We do have a planning report, and it's application for consent, and it's once again for Sherco Holdings. So, Jeff, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. So consent applications B25, B26, and B27 of 2024 have again been submitted by MHBC Planning for the Sherco Holding lands on the lands that are known as 4350 Line 36. The consent applications have been submitted to create one new lot for the existing agricultural commercial business and 2 lot additions that are to be added to the adjacent lands. As mentioned previously, the lands are currently zoned as a mineral aggregate resource zone, MAR-3. Applicant is proposing to rezone those lands to an agricultural zone A-142, and an ACM zone. Blue Water Recycling Association, Hydro One, and Upper Thames River Conservation Authority have all submitted a response to planning, and they do not have any concerns or comments with applications. As mentioned, the subject lands have been rehabilitated to allow for agricultural production following the surrendering of the aggregate licenses. Application B25-24 intends to sever a portion of the lands to create the new lot for the existing commercial business. Proposed lot meets all zoning requirements in the ACM zone. The applicant is advised that the business continues to primarily support the agricultural community, and the existing use is already permitted in the MAR-3 zone and also the proposed zone. Proposed lot to be severed continues to be occupied by the agricultural related use. that is of a minimal size to accommodate the agricultural business. The lot will have access to a public road. It does not require any additional servicing, and adequate drainage is being provided. Applicant has also submitted the zone change application for those lands to change the zone to an ACM zone. Lands to be severed would have an approximate lot frontage of 125 meters, depth of 300 meters, an area of 3.76 hectares, and again, it's occupied by the truck repair service business. Application B 26/2024 intends to sever a portion of the lands as a lot addition to the adjacent rural residential property at 4318 Perth Line 36. Lands to be severed are occupied by a driveway that leads to a gated entrance to the former aggregate operation on the lands to be retained, and the lands are located outside of a fenced-in area that is proposed to be kept on the retained lands. Again, the applicant has submitted an application for the zone change application to change the lands to an agricultural zone. The lands to be severed as a lot addition would have an approximate frontage of 18.8 meters, approximate depth of 65.1 meters, and approximate area of 0.1 hectares. And again, they are looking to change that zone to an A-142 zone in order to avoid any split zoning on the parcel that's going to be added to 4318 Perth Line 36. The final application is B27/2024. Proposes to again sever a portion of the lands as a lot addition to the adjacent property, which is located at 4321 line 39. In the council agenda and in the report on page 97, there was one reference that mentioned that the property would be, and the to be enlarged would be 4318 line 36. There's several references to the actual property address at 4321 line 39. So I just wanted to make mention of that small typo in the report. The lands to be severed are minimal in size to accommodate the security and servicing needs of the subject lands on the adjacent property. The lands to be enlarged at 4321 line 39 are zone MAR and MAR-3. The MAR-1 zone allows for the corn and grain drying establishment and accessory uses. MAR Zone 3 allows for the truck and equipment repair business, which is on the south side of the property. The land to be retained would have an approximate lot frontage of 277 meters, lot depth of 2,075 meters, an approximate area of 79.5 hectares. And the lot enlargement would allow for the property at 4321 line 39 to have additional land that is intended to be used for agricultural uses. Proposed lot fabric represents lot sizes that are supportable by the County of Perth official plan. Planning staff are supportive of the proposed severance applications, subject to the conditions of consent approval being fulfilled. Again, I'm available to answer questions.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Any questions of the report?
So we have 3 motions separate for each application.
Okay, so we're going to have 3 motions, one for each of the different applications. Okay, so the first one is that the Township of Perth East advise the Land Division Committee or its delegated authority that the Township of Perth East supports application D10-B25-24-PE submitted by Sherco Holdings for lands described as Part Lot 8, Lot 9, Concession 3, Part Lots 8 and 9, Concession 4, Ellis Ward in the Township of Perth East, subject to the following conditions. And these are the Perth East conditions, 6 of them. That first one, all financial requirements have been met. The second one, that the required cash in lieu of parkland dedication fee has been paid for each severed lot. The third one, that the apportionment schedule for municipal drains in the area are reviewed and updated to the satisfaction of the township. The fourth one, that the severed land and retained lots have each been assigned separate municipal addresses and signs. The fifth one is that the road access to the severed and retained lots are to the satisfaction of the township. And the sixth one is that the amendment to the Township of Perth East implementing zoning bylaw be adopted to zone the proposed severed lot to an agricultural, commercial / industrial. and to zone the retained lot to agriculture zone A to permit the intended use and to regulate their location. And then in the Perth County conditions, we have two conditions, and the first one is that the solicitor, that the certificate of the official be scanned and attached to the electronic registration of the transfer, and the second one is the Land Division Committee is provided with a description that is consistent with the application and equal to that required for registration of the deed/transfer or other conveyance of interest on land under the provisions of the Registry Act or the Land Title Act. So those are the conditions. Do we have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Hugh, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and the second application is, it's D10-B26-24-PE, and it's for lands described as Part Lot 8 and Lot 9, Concession 3, and Part Lots of 8 and 9, Concession 4, Ellis Ward again, Township of Perth East. There are 6 conditions again. The first one is for Perth East. These 6 are that all the financial requirements have been met. The second one, that the required cash in lieu of parkland dedication fee has been paid for each severed lot. Number 3, that the apportioned schedule of municipal drains in the area are reviewed and updated to the satisfaction of Perth East. Number 4, that the severed and retained lots have been assigned separate municipal addresses and signs. The 5th one, that the road access to the severed and retained parcels are to the satisfaction of the township. And the 6th one, that the amendment to the Township Perth East implementing zoning bylaw adopted to zone the proposed severed lot to an agricultural zone A-142 and to zone the retained lot to an agricultural zone A to permit the intended use to regulate their location. And then Perth County has 3 conditions this time. The first one is that the certificate of official be scanned and attached to the electronic registration of the transfer. The second one, the Land Division Committee be provided with a description that is consistent with the application and equal to that required for registration of the deed/transfer or other conveyances of interest in land under provision for the Registry Act or Land Titles Act. And the third one, that a solicitor's undertaking be received, which shall be to the effect that at the time of registration of the transfer to which the certificate under Section 53 of the Planning Act is affixed, the name of the owner of the budding land to which this parcel is being joined is the same as the transferee in the said transfer, and that a solicitor undertaking be received by the County of Perth to the effect that the severed parcel be added as a lot addition to the budding parcel described as Part Lot 8, Lot 9, Concession 3, Part Lots 8 and 9, Concession 4, Ellis Ward, Township of Perth East, and that Section 50 of the Planning Act shall apply to any subsequent conveyance or transfer of the severed parcel, and the certificates under Section 53 of the Planning Act shall contain reference to this stipulation, and also confirmation be received from a solicitor that the resultant lot, the severed lot, and the land to which is being added will be encumbered by any mortgage as one lot at the time of registration of transfer, or that there are no outstanding mortgages or encumbrances on the land to be consolidated, and an undertaking be received from a solicitor that the severed parcel and benefiting lands will be consolidated under the land titles onto one PIN or PIN. Okay, do we have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Andrew, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. And then the third motion is that we advise the Land Committee or its delegate the authority that the Township of Perth East supports application D10-B27-24-PE submitted by Sherco Holdings for lands for Part Lot 8, Lot 9, Concession 3, Part Lot 8 and 9 of Concession 4, Ellis Ward, Township of Perth East, to the following conditions. And once again, Perth East has 6 conditions. The first one is that financial requirements have been met. The second one is the required cash in lieu of parkland dedication fee has been paid for each severed lot. The third one, that the apportionment schedule of municipal drains in the area are reviewed and updated. The fourth is that the severed and retained lots each have assigned separate municipal addresses and signs. The fifth one, that the road access to the severed and retained parcels are to the satisfaction of the township. And the sixth, that confirmation Be received that an amendment to the zoning Perth East implementing zoning bylaw has been adopted to zone the proposed separate lot to an agricultural zone A and to zone the retained lot to an agricultural zone A to permit the intended use and to regulate their locations. And in the county, we have three conditions. The first one is that the certificate of the official be scanned, attached to the electronic registration of the transfer. The second one is that the Land Division Committee be provided with a description that is consistent with the application and equal to that required for registration of the deed/transfer under the provision of the Registry Act or the Land Titles Act. And the third one is a solicitor undertaking shall be received, which shall be to the effect that all, at the time of the registration of the transfer to which the certificate under Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990 is affixed and the name of the owner of the budding land to which this parcel is being joined is the same as the transferee and the said transfer, and that a solicitor's undertaking be received by the County of Perth to the effect that the severed parcel be added as a lot addition to the abutting parcel described as Part Lot 8, Lot 9, Concession 3, Part Lots 8 and 9, Concession 4, Ellis Ward, Township of Perth East, and at Sections 50 of the Planning Act shall apply to any subsequent conveyances or transfer of the severed parcel, and a certificate under Section 53 of the Planning Act shall contain reference to this stipulation. Also, that confirmation be received from a solicitor that the result lot severed and the land to which is being added will be encumbered by any mortgage as one lot as the time of registration or transfer, or that there are no outstanding mortgages or encumbrances on the land to be consolidated, and the undertaking be received from a solicitor that the severed parcel and benefiting lands will be consolidated under the Land Titles Act under one PIN. Wow. Okay, we have a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Bob, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Moving on. CAO, we have no reports. Under clerk, we have a tender opening under the East Black Creek Municipal Drain. And Ashley, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mayor Agates. So this is the tender results for the East Black Creek Municipal Drain. We're recommending to award the submission to Van Driel Excavating. And the Court of Revision did meet back in October on the 16th, and they did uphold the assessment schedule. I can answer any questions if there's any.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the report? If not, we have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report prepared by the Development and Drainage Coordinator dated November 19, entitled Tender Opening Rostock Municipal Drain 2024 DDC-2024-36 for information, and further that Council award the tender for construction of the East Black Creek Municipal Drain 2024 to Van Driel Excavating, Inc. with their submission of $75,190.96, excluding taxes, only upon satisfactory resolution to all appeals before the Court of Revision. Moved by Amanda, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you. Now we're moving to finance, 2025 fees and charges. And Paula, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess before council tonight is the proposed 2025 fees and charges schedule for the township. For the most part, the rates have increased by CPI, the 3.13%, and the department managers have made comments on the schedules attached to the report if there's any deviance from that CPI rate. The development charge fees, they have been indexed by the 3.3% for the 2025 year, and that is based on the third quarter Statistics Canada non-residential building construction price index. The water and wastewater rates, I just wanted to point out a couple items. The annual life cycle requirements have increased significantly for these categories of assets. The water assets are up by 28.1%, and the wastewater is up by 8.8%. And that's just mainly associated with inflation over the last few years. So with that being said, the proposed water rates are proposed to generate a $500 deficit. And the water recovery for the capital is proposed at a deficit of $54,700. We chose not to go full cost recovery because those increases were quite significant. The increase as they are significant enough, I believe. Our wastewater is in a little worse situation on the operations side. We're proposing a deficit of just under $10,000. And then on the capital side, a deficit of just under $7,500. So based on the 3-year average volume usage for the water wastewater, a typical bi-monthly invoice, so for 2 months, the water bill would increase by $10.59 or 8.5%, and the wastewater bill would increase by $7.71 or a 6.8% increase. So those are the highlights of the fees and charges for 2025. If there's any questions, I'm available to answer.
Okay, questions of the report? No questions, and we have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled 2025 Fees and Charges FIN-2024-22 dated November 19, 2024, prepared by the Manager of Financial Services, Treasurer for information, and further that Council of the Township of Perth East give 3 readings to Bylaw 64-2024, being a bylaw to establish and require payment of various fees and charges for services provided by the township, and to repeal bylaw 55-2023 effective January 1, 2025. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jeremy, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're going to move, thanks Paula, we're going to move to Public Works, and Jake is going to report on the 2025 triaxle dump truck. So Jake, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mayor Eggetts. The report tonight is a request for pre-budget approval for one of our triaxle replacements. The county recently went back to tendering for triaxles and were successful in that. They got only a couple, but nonetheless, we're looking to try that approach as well. Costs obviously continue to go up, but it kind of is what it is with the market. So if there are any questions on that one, I will try and answer.
Okay, questions of the report? Andrew?
Thank you, Meredith. How good a shape is it in? Is it just due on paper, or can we squeeze another few years out of this thing?
Yeah, it's definitely the cost of maintenance are starting to climb. We're seeing big costs with when it comes time to get them safetied annually. Some of the bills are quite shocking actually as the trucks get older. You're into like $20,000 for work on a truck just to get it safetied. So this one is, I've seen it recently. It's at the end of its life. You're just going to end up paying more in maintenance if you don't replace it, in my opinion. So.
Okay, other questions? Amanda?
I just have a more general question. No concerns with what's being proposed here, but what is our asset management sort of plan for the fleet? Like, do we have is there a chart or something like that in the future could be shared with council so we have a better understanding? Because I know acquiring new trucks is a huge challenge, not only for public works, but also fire. We've seen that as well. So just curious in the future if there's something that could be shared, because it would give us some more insight and prime us counselors for what's sort of coming forward.
Yeah, certainly. We have our asset management plan that could be shared with council. And just something to note there, I believe the plan, Paula, correct me if I'm wrong, is to update that policy in 2025. So you'll certainly see it then at that point. So yeah, we can share that at any point here with council.
Okay, other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled 2025 Triaxle Dump Truck Pre-Budget Approval, PUB 2024-24, dated November 19, 2024, prepared by the Manager of Public Works for information, and further that Council grant pre-budget approval for the supply of a tri-axle cab chassis and associated plow equipment for the 2025 capital budget, and further that Council of the Township of Perth East allocate $450,000 from the Transportation Reserve to fund the procurement of said tri-axle cab chassis and associated plow equipment in the 2025 capital budget. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Amanda, second by Bob. All those in favor? Carried. Thanks, Jake. Okay, we have no reports from our building and bylaw enforcement. Under Parks and Recreation, we have the commemorative naming report. So Becky, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mayor Rhonda. As outlined in the report here, we have 4 park amenities that we would like to recommend to put names to them rather than what we have in the past is just kind of a description of the amenities. There are a number of recommendations put forward and were reviewed, and we have the recommendation in front of you. The only comment I would add is that the number 2 probably should say David Shear Memorial Park rather than Dave. Other than that, if there's any questions, I certainly will answer.
Questions, Amanda?
Yeah, I love what is being recommended, but I do have just one question. So number 3, it has in quotations Pete. Was that his nickname?
Yes, sorry. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
basically the name people would know him by. They probably wouldn't know who Laverne Harloff is.
Okay, so that's why it's in quotation
Yeah.
marks, because
Yes.
it's his nickname. Okay, because I don't love the quotation marks, but I get that if it's a nickname that you would put quotation marks, but that's just my only.
What we can do is confirm with the family how they would like to see that.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, for sure. It just seems a little less like too informal with the quotations.
Okay.
That's my suggestion, but whatever the family wants.
Okay, Jeremy?
I like the list that we have here, Becky, thank you. I just wonder about something like this in the future, if this is something we can do in closed session. We're discussing, I don't know if it's identifiable individuals, what it is, but all these members, or all these people are contributing members of our community, but it's also difficult to pick one over the other when we're looking at a list of all these different people that have been brought to us. So I'm not sure if this is something in the future we can put in closed if it qualifies for any of those items, but it would make me more comfortable in dealing with this list if it was.
Okay. Duly noted. Hugh?
Yeah, how much would Jeremy have to donate to the township to finally move up the list?
Other questions?
Put that in there.
Other questions? If not, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report prepared by the Manager of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services dated November 19, 2024, entitled Commemorative Naming for Information, and further that Council select the following names for the park amenities listed below. Number 1, soccer pitch at Greenwood Park would be named Beauchart Field. Number 2, the playground on Mill Street would be named David Shear Memorial Park. Number 3, the trail from Greenwood to G2G would be named Pete Laverne Harloff Memorial Trail. And number 4, the trail from Mill Street to Road 119 will be named the West Kipford Trail. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Amanda, second by,
Do we want to just add something just in case the families ask for different naming? Just
Okay.
The
And the
resolution
families-
doesn't
and
allow for a lot of flexibility for the naming.
you want to add to that the families be contacted in regards to the names?
Yeah, something along those lines, I think. if council's comfortable with that. Once a resolution is passed, there's not a lot of flexibility, and I think, yeah, the one conversation we've had, there may be a change there, so I don't want it to,
Maybe the wording could be about to get their comfort, right? Because are we seeking kind of their comfort to proceed? It's not just notifying them that we're doing it. Are we, like, I guess my question is, are we notifying them that this is the decision of council? Are we notifying them that we would like to wish to do it and would like to get your comfort to proceed? And then I have one other question, sorry, I meant to ask it earlier. What would be the timelines for these types of things to be erected?
That's Becky.
Actually, if I can answer or make a comment on another thing too, all the families have already been contacted as far as permission or that they're okay with the nomination. However, I did not, with the Pete and Laverne thing there, I did not confirm that. As far as timeline, it just however long it takes to get, I was just going to get like street signs made up and put up, and that was basically.
Like, are we gonna do a ceremony? Like, that's what I'm, like, that's
Oh, the
more
ceremony?
so, like, that's what I'm more so getting at. Like, it would be nice to do a reveal. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm just planting that seed.
Okay. I hadn't planned that.
Like a little ribbon cutting, This is, I think that's a lovely thing. I think people would appreciate it.
Mike's making a little adjustment. Okay, so then we would just add at the bottom, the naming as confirmed with family representatives. Okay? All right, everybody good with that? Pardon? Oh, yes, moved by Amanda. I think Hugh was going to second it. So seconder's Hugh. Any more questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Becky. We have no reports from fire, so the next item is under correspondence, and that's the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority Draft Conservation Area Strategy. What do you wish to do with that? Receive it for information? Okay, so that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive the correspondence from Ed McGugan, Chair of the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority, MVCA, dated November 11, 2024, requesting input on the Draft Conservation Area Strategy 2024 for information. Moved by Amanda, second by Jerry. Questions, Amanda?
Sorry, I just have a question. I just wanted to ask, because they are asking for input before whatever, December, whatever. Did staff have any, like, I didn't see any red flags when I looked at it, but just before we go ahead and just receive for information, like, that's what the request was, if we had any input. So I'm just asking the question if there was anything that we should be inputting before we just receive it for information.
Cool.
Thanks, Councilor Broadhagen. I reviewed the submission as well. We didn't review it collectively as a management team or anything to that extent. I didn't note anything that I thought was outside of something that we would be supportive as it relates to their role. I would suggest that Maitland Valley probably has takes the role that's probably this council would be most supportive as it relates to Conservation Authority in terms of what they try to provide to the area that they are providing services to. So yeah, I think it's well written. It's not overbearing, and I think it aligns quite well with Perth East's priorities as it relates to conservation.
Okay, any more questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we're down to council and committee reports. There's no mayor's meeting log. It came last council meeting. Is there any reports from any of the committees that council members sit on? Nope, okay. Then we're gonna move to bylaws, and we have 5 bylaws for first and second reading. We have the provisional bylaw 116-2024 to provide for a drainage works known as Old Municipal Drain 2024, and that was the presentation tonight. We have bylaw 114-2024 amendment for Curryville Municipal Drain 2023, and that's in Ellis Ward. We have bylaw 115-2024, and it's an amendment to Road 130 Municipal Drain 2023, and that's in Ellis Ward. We have bylaw 2112-2024, a bylaw to amend bylaw 30-1999, part lot 8 and 9, concession 3, part lots 8 and 9, concession 4, Ellis Ward, 4350, Perth line 36. And then the bylaw 64-2024, a bylaw to establish and require payment of various fees and charges for services provided by the municipality, and repeal bylaw 55-2023, and that these bylaws be read a first and second time. Moved by Jerry, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. And then we have third and final bylaws. We have bylaw 114-2024, amendment Curryville Municipal Drain 2023, that's in Ellis Ward. Bylaw 115-2024, amendment to Road 130 Municipal Drain 2023, and that's in Ellis Ward. Bylaw 212-2024, it's a bylaw to amend bylaw 30-1999, part lot 8, part lot 9, concession 3, parts of lot 8 and 9, concession 4, Ellis Ward, 4350, Perth line 36, and bylaw 64-2024 being a bylaw to establish and require payment of various fees and charges for services provided by the municipality, and repeal bylaw 55-2023, and that the bylaws listed above be read a third and final time. Moved by Hugh, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Okay, do we have any announcements? Just one, tomorrow is Municipal Day, so I hope a few of us around the table are registered. It starts at 8:30 in the morning, and it'll be...
I do think we have one extra ticket if anybody who hasn't registered is interested. I think there's one extra spot.
Okay. All right, we do not have a closed session, so we are to the confirmatory bylaw. And it says that a bylaw 65-2024 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Township of Perth East at its regular meeting held on November 19, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time. Moved by Hugh, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. And the last motion of the night, that we adjourn at 7:47 p.m. Moved by Amanda, second by Jeremy. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest.